We are reading from Love of God and Love of Man. You can find this on Kab.tv, available for download. This is not in Kabbalah for the student. You may also ask questions on Kab.tv. Chosen relevant questions will be asked during the lesson. Once more, this is the article Love of God and Love of Man. The title is And to Cleave Unto Him.
Well, this is an article that Baal Sulam actually didn't finalize. He just started kind of taking notes for himself, but the article reiterates the same principles as well, and there are not many principles in the wisdom of Kabbalah. If we learn that there's a will to receive, and the Creator is a will to bestow, and the will to receive must resemble the will to bestow by receiving an impression from the will to bestow called intention, and then beginning to work as though it is a will to bestow, although really it's a will to receive, but with an intention to bestow. And if it works like that, it achieves adhesion. And therefore, he explains to us what it means to achieve that adhesion, to cleave unto Him. How do I discover gradually that first I am opposite to the will to bestow? And how can I discover it if that will to bestow, the Creator, is concealed to me? It's concealed because I'm opposite, because I'm a complete will to receive. How can I feel an opposite phenomenon to myself? I can't. I can only feel to the extent I resemble what I want to feel. That's called the law of equivalence of form. Meaning, if there is a certain phenomenon within me, then I can feel a similar phenomenon outside of me. But if there's no phenomenon that is found possibly within me, then I don't even know about it. That's why our world is so limited and seems sometimes unpredictable. Sometimes we face all sorts of unexpected things because there are many forces and laws that we don't identify, because we don't have the inner qualities to identify them. So when an action already appears to our senses, we sense it only from the point that it's in equivalence of form with our qualities, and before that we have no way to detect it. So, by the wisdom of Kabbalah, we can discover additional qualities in the realm of bestowal, not in the realm of reception. And that's how we uncover the whole reality, and then see and govern everything that happens. So to cleave unto Him means to achieve those qualities that exist in the other part of reality, the part of nature, the Creator.
I have a question regarding the word adhesion. As a person who learned in a yeshiva, a religious school, I'm used to hearing this word a lot, adhesion, yes, and it's a normal reference. How do we see the difference in definition?
The common people need, but we should understand that the kind of adhesion we refer to when we talk about the wisdom of Kabbalah, we're talking about the similarity of qualities, what we call similarity of form. Why form? Because matter itself is something we can't change. It's a will to receive. However, that will to receive has a form. In order to receive is called a bad form, opposite to the form of the Creator, not in the matter, but in the form, the intention. The intention is in order to receive. If it's just a plain will to receive, it doesn't mean that it's opposite. It's like the still, vegetative, and animate degrees. Or a person who didn't yet feel that he's opposite to the Creator. He's not called evil. He doesn't have an evil inclination. An evil inclination means an inclination, and evil, that's a desire, and the evil means that I discover that its form is opposite to the Creator. So the still, vegetative, and animate degrees, and the man who is also on the still, vegetative, or animate degree, that's not evil. It's just nature, a will to receive working naturally. When does it become evil? When it discovers itself opposite the light, opposite the Creator, and sees that oppositeness. And then it becomes Adam, man. First, a wild ass is born a man, it is said. And the sin crouches at the door and so on, which means he discovers that he's opposite. When? When he begins to study the wisdom of Kabbalah. Before that, no one's evil. Imagine yourself. All the egoists you see on the face of earth don't need to correct anything. It isn't the form that needs to be corrected. The only gap that needs to be bridged is between me and the Creator. So, when I discover my opposite, bad form, with respect to the Creator, I need to invert it to the good form, the form that resembles the Creator. To the extent that we are similar, this is called me for the Creator and the Creator for me, then we reach a connection called adhesion. That's all. We're talking about the work of finding, discovering the breakage, the shattering, and correcting it. And that's all by the light that we draw through the study, and not anything before that. Meaning a person at some point in his life cycles feels a point in the heart, a spark that pinches him and pushes him to a higher level of existence beyond corporeality, and he finds the wisdom of Kabbalah and starts studying and so on, and it takes a while until he really begins to feel how much he's not in it. From that moment he begins to see that his nature is opposite to the Creator. From that moment on, you can say that he has a recognition of evil. The fact that people think that they're bad because they didn't help an old lady cross the street, or because they didn't give charity or something like that, is completely irrelevant to the evil that needs to be corrected according to Kabbalah. That's the evil that needs to be corrected in human life, in regular earthly life. Yeah, that's what we think in human society. It's completely, totally not the problem that the wisdom of Kabbalah deals with. Okay? No.
I'm sorry, I don't get it. What's the evil here? If it's not an old lady crossing the street, which I have to help, well then...
No. Wait a minute.
But it's written, love thy neighbor as thyself.
Now, when I come to the recognition of evil, to the relation between me and the Creator, when I see that my attitude is bad and opposite and unbearable and so on, then I begin to ask, how do I discover the corrections? How do I achieve corrections? I need to reach adhesion with the Creator. That's all. That's basically the goal. And the action that I need to do will be that, resembling Him, adhering to Him, connecting to Him. That's all. So I begin to then hear. In order for me to make that action, what did the Creator do? He hid Himself. He didn't want me to work directly towards Him. Why? Because if I would never leave my ego. I would be proud of being with him. I would have all sorts of forms of connection with him that don't leave the ego. So what did he do? He gave me the whole world instead of himself, which I can feel and see. All those faces and animals and plants and rocks are instead of him. That's the picture I see. And he said, you have to achieve love towards all of those. If you do reach that, you should know that you will reach love towards me as well. And then we will be in adhesion and we'll feel good together. But I look at all the others. I don't want to love them, hug them, cling to them. But he tells me there's no choice, buddy, because I'm worse. If you would see my face, that would be worse. So in the meantime, that's your opportunity to do it through them. And know that I gave you this game so that you play it and then see how precisely through the relationships with them you'll find many means for advancement, whereas towards me it's impossible. Why? Because I am eternal and whole. And you can't be, come towards me and be sometimes like this, sometimes like that. I am the law of absolute total bestowal, unconditionally. Can you relate to that? No. So you can't touch me, we can't be together. So, play with this. They are sometimes like this, sometimes like that, and you are like this and like that. I structured them in a way that by thinking that they're changing, you change as well. And by this mingling and mixture, you develop. And I also set up some group of people that are like you, that want to reach me in a way. And then you'll see that it'll seem to you that they exist outside of you, like actors, like puppets. So act towards them, play with them. The way you position them to reach me means that you are already coming closer to me. So start this connection with them, play with them, with that. Begin to reach love thy friend as thyself, as it's called, and suddenly you'll discover that it's the same as love thy Lord. That's it. The thing is that I can't play with you in the current state you are now. So in your current state, I structured a whole world for you, and it's all for that purpose.
Even helping the old lady cross the street.
Then helping the lady cross the street could be a means to reach love for the Creator. Not just like that, doing something for the old lady. You can send her to any other place, if not for that purpose. Only on the condition that you need her to reach love for the Creator. That's a different story. That's a different story. You're using this world correctly. What for? For the purpose it was given to you, and it's a big difference in the attitude to the world. If not for that, for the need of reaching love for the Creator, then it doesn't matter how good you think you relate to the world, you actually make it worse. Because it will nevertheless have to force you to awaken towards the Creator. So instead of being a friendly environment for you so you can develop towards the Creator, it will work the opposite way. The more you are disconnected from the Creator, the more you don't want to use this environment to reach the Creator, it'll have to show you the opposite, to shake you up and tell you, come on, what are you doing? It isn't the right purpose. You're not using it correctly. That's why just helping the lady cross the street for no reason. Why? You think that's the purpose the world was structured before us? No. And you see what's happening with all the pretty people who try to do pretty things. The worst results come from that. Yes?
What's the difference if, let's say, I take this old lady, I help her cross the street out of a desire to reach love of the Creator, as you described now, and a different state, a different attitude, where I'm helping this old lady cross the street in order to receive a reward from the Creator for this commandment of love thy neighbor as thyself that I fulfilled.
Without any connection with the Creator?
No, with a direct connection. I want him to pay me for this.
I'm sorry, what's your end result? What's the final goal? Love thy friend as thyself? You want to love the old lady?
No.
So, but that's love thy friend as thyself.
I don't care about love. I want to receive a reward.
What kind of a reward?
From the Creator. He promised me for this commandment, I will get a profit, the reward. So I have an opportunity here.
So you are taking the Creator and the old lady and the street and the world and all of that is for your reward.
That's true. So I'm asking, what's the difference here?
You'll get a reward.
Okay, so I just want to sharpen something here. What's the difference if I take this old lady and I tell the Creator, look, I helped her across the street, pay me. Creator, pay me. The main thing, that's what I care. What's the difference between that and telling the Creator, look, I'm helping her across the street in order to adhere to you? What's the difference in this profit and the correction?
The goal. What do you want? Everything is drawn after the intention. What you determine, that's what you get. If you help the old lady for your pocket, or for your soul, whatever you think, but not adherent to the Creator, then you'll also get a reward. But you'll see it in an opposite way. You'll see that it aims you to a good state. But because your intention and the Creator's intention is not exactly the same, but the opposite, you'll feel the difference. And then the reward will be negative. Whereas if you make your desire as his desire, then the reward will be exactly in the same direction. Meaning, either way, light appears towards each and every action. But with the right intention, you feel the light as light. With the wrong intention, you feel it as darkness.
What intention do I have to feel as light?
If you go along with the Creator, light appears towards the action. The action is an action, but either you become more like a bat or more like a rooster. That depends on how your intentions and his intentions are equal. I don't even understand why you're asking about it. Isn't it clear?
Because you said in the beginning, yes, the beginning of the description, that the purpose here is not to help the old lady cross the street.
True, but only on the condition, just like using anything in this world, only on the condition that it's for the end result, for the final purpose. I'm not talking about people who don't have a point in the heart. If they don't have a point in their heart, then they develop in the meantime. They accumulate the evil gradually further and further until they begin some ascension. And when they do, they go deeper into their evil. Look, what are we seeing? Humanity has developed from primitive people to man, and from then to Adam, and then to Abraham, and then the problem of Babylon, where the evil was disclosed. People started fighting, and so on. And from that came the small group that escaped into Egypt, into a worse place. And from Egypt to the desert, and from the desert to wars of conquering the land. So you see how things that happen in the middle are just getting worse. All of this is in order to strengthen the intention on top of all those states. However, before you reach Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah, when you have a method to correct yourself, look how much times man has to discover the evil. And this is what happens with humanity to this day. Besides maybe 1 million or 2 million people in the world, I don't know how many, who feel the longing for correction, all the rest don't feel it in the meantime, and they won't feel it as well. Their correction will come from us. There's an article called One Mitzvah, One Commandment, where he writes about it, I think, there in the end. that the correction for majority of the world will not come from their desire for correction, rather from those who got that desire. They correct themselves, and then through them the force of correction will be poured onto the others.
Rav, until up now I understood that work in the group is in relation to the points in the heart. Now you're talking to me about the old lady, it's confusing me. So what? Helping the old lady cross the street is part of my work?
Well, it won't harm you, won't kill you. No, seriously, it is. Bala Sulam emphasizes this, and he says that you should relate to the whole world this way. It doesn't mean that you should always look for old ladies in the street and that's what you should be doing. But no, because some people are doing that. Some people are concerned about that, and they put a lot of effort into that, because it's something that provides you satisfaction, that you did something good, and so on. But undoubtedly, that is also an attitude towards the fellow men, the others. But if we are talking about the general correction of the world, what we should be concerned of is the group that will become corrected, because it will then become the source of goodness for the whole world. Maybe read something. You don't want to read.
We're going to read from the article on Kab.tv, Love of God and Love of Man, title, And to Cleave unto Him. There remains room to ask if the purpose of the Torah and the entire creation is but to raise the base humanity to become worthy of that wonderful sublimity, and to cleave unto Him. He should have created us with that sublimity to begin with, instead of troubling us with the labor that there is in creation and Torah and mitzvot. We could explain that by the words of our sages. One who eats that which is not his is afraid to look at one's face.
Maybe you'll read it again.
And to cleave unto Him. There still remains room to ask if the purpose of the Torah and the entire creation is but to raise the base humanity to become worthy of that wonderful sublimity, and to cleave unto Him. He should have created us with that sublimity to begin with, instead of troubling us with the labor that there is in creation and Torah and mitzvot. We could explain that by the words of our sages. One who eats that which is not his is afraid to look at one's face. This means that anyone who feeds on the labor of others is afraid, is ashamed to look at his own form, for his form is inhuman.
Meaning the Creator created in us a certain means called shame. If we discover that we receive something from someone, it makes you ashamed. Why? Because it hurts my my status, feeling myself as myself. The Creator created us by His light, and we come from a very high source, which is the light. And if I feel that I receive from someone, it's opposite to the light. That's why I feel very humiliated. And only if I'm on the animate degree, then I have no shame. You see, it's like you throw something to a dog. It takes it, grabs it without being embarrassed or anything. If you give something to a person, then it depends. If the person is in a state of life danger, when he is at the animate degree now, or because he was educated that way, then he won't be ashamed as well. If you give something to a person who's proud of himself of being a person, then he will already feel flawed. So why did the Creator create this thing?
Because no deficiency comes out of His wholeness. He has prepared for us this work, that we may enjoy the labor of our own hands. That is why He created in this base form. So that's why He created creation in this base form. The work in Torah and mitzvot lifts us from the baseness of creation.
Meaning to feel how we are lowly in our will to receive with respect to the will to bestow, and then this gap should provide us with the strength to ascend.
Through it, we reach our sublimity by ourselves. Then we do not feel the delight and pleasure that comes to us from His generous hand as a gift, but as owners of that pleasure. However,
If there's a question, please. Yes.
we say that adhesion is a process of equivalence, a form of our qualities to nature to the quality of bestowal. Now, if we, let's say, take the force of gravity, that law, yes? I feel it in my senses, but I don't have to make equivalence of form with it. I just have to know it exists and be careful to not go against it. And what's the difference here?
Because according to the general law of nature, you don't need to equalize your form with this, and you do need to equalize your form with that. Equivalence of form has to do only with the human degree in you, not with all the rest of the qualities. All the other laws and qualities and the still vegetative and animate degree, including within the human degree, you don't need to correct. This is a nature that works naturally, automatically. And just by knowing how to beware of all kinds of laws like the law of gravity, you can exist and that's it. This isn't what the commandment of correction is about. That's only with respect to the law of bestowal. Yes.
I have something that I thought about it for a few moments. You said me for the Creator and the Creator for me. You said we must precede the deficiency from our own part. Now, Israel that is in exile, the divinity, the Shekhinah is with them. Everything we have to reveal is the sorrow of divinity. And then Israel reach their sighing from the work?
Yes. Yes.
The previous discussion we had about the old lady actually brought a lot of reactions from the world. Clear? Michael from the Chulon group is asking, what's the difference between a Kabbalist who enjoys teaching and writing books and some altruistic teacher who wants to help kids in danger, heal them?
A Kabbalist who takes care of humanity brings them to correction. An educator who educates kids to be good kids brings them to death, because eventually he moves them away from correction. In the long run, in a global form, what he does is really extends their suffering. That's all. But we're not saying that they do bad things, that they're evil or something, because they're in the plan of creation, doing what they have to do, just like puppet on strings, dealing with what the will to receive propels them to do, to grow to the point where they feel a spark about correction, and then they begin to think about the purpose of life and start the correction process. And in the meantime, he can educate the kids to be good kids. Fine. But of course there's a difference. However, a Kabbalist cannot work with those kids like the educator works with them, because those kids didn't yet start dealing with correction, so he can't address them. Maybe gradually, tomorrow, the day after, or in next life cycles, they'll come to the Kabbalists instead of the educator. That's how it is.
Regarding the example, what does it mean to do every action for the sake of the Creator? I don't get it. It's very annoying. I mean, what is this?
Annoying. Well, it's like I need to work for someone. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. But that someone is called the general law of nature. the force that is all-inclusive, including you and everyone else and everything you can possibly think about. And other than that law, there's nothing. And when you work that way, you're not working for someone. You're doing it in order to
dominate.
To kind of to relate this law to the whole of creation, to show, to discover, to introduce it over the whole of creation, to show its discover its governance of the whole world. The Creator doesn't need to take anything from anyone. It's not a desire that can absorb anything. The will to bestow cannot absorb anything from you. All the things that you do towards it is what you feel. And accordingly, that's how you work towards that law. That law is like a wall. It doesn't feel a thing. Towards nature, what's nature? You can say it's inanimate. Towards inanimate, what does it mean? The law of absolute unconditional bestowal. You feel all the responses, the reactions within yourself. It's not that you need to love it, to love him. It's just our language. That's how we explain it. But there's no issue of loving him or not loving him. With respect to him, it's irrelevant. We feel our work that way. We are emotional beings. This law is a law. There's no... We also can't talk about its own essence. We don't have any grasp of it, any approach towards grasping it. All that we discuss about the Creator is what we feel in our imagination, how we feel Him, what He is, who He is. It's what I think through my qualities and my vessels, broken or corrected, through all kinds of senses that I have. That's how I imagine Him, depict Him. But He Himself, so to say that we are actually working for Him, for someone, no. When it says love the Creator or love God, it's talking about the correction you must achieve, and then you feel goodness.
Well, that's it. That's why I have to understand that in history, I mean, there were millions killed.
What people? What do you mean?
That's the thing. Everyone understands it in their way. I mean, I want to be sure that what I'm doing is for the sake of the Creator. I mean, at least I'm on the way.
That's why you're given the group. That's why the work in the group is given. That's what it's for. Not so that you work for some abstract notion, a force that can't be felt, or a condition that everyone can look at it differently. That's why you're told to take the wisdom of Kabbalah, which is the program, the plan, the method of how to relate to human society. Build that attitude according to the wisdom of Kabbalah in human society. That's how you achieve the complete correction of yourself. If you achieve love of the created beings the way the light that reforms shows it to you, that'll be exactly your attitude towards the Creator. That's all. Instead of making actions towards the light, the kli was broken, and now the vessels, the kelim, are working towards each other. So they are able to examine themselves and check themselves and work together, and they're mixed and so on. And it allows for the ability to sense and detect everything. Whereas towards an abstract force, it's just philosophy. What, Neil?
We spoke about helping old ladies cross the street. Now, what if we're in a situation where I don't know, you have to harm somebody else. How does that work with the quality of bestowal? Let's say, Chanach, let's say he said he's a lawyer, his work is to profit on other people's harm. Or somebody, I don't know, is in some problem, that to solve it he must harm someone else. It seems to be opposing bestowal.
So what are you asking me?
How do I work with this so that I can do those actions in order to be corrected? How do I connect it?
Be your own judge. What do you ask me for? What are you asking?
You said that if I do an action to help an old lady cross the street,
if I do an action that harms someone, that action is against drawing closer to the Creator, and that action will eventually bring harm. If not on the corporeal level, then on the spiritual level for sure.
But if you got to a situation that the result of your situation and its solution is to harm someone else.
So there are laws about this. If it's a life danger or other things, these are the only conditions that it can happen, not other conditions. There is a rule and a law for everything. And it's not like it seems to you that you manipulate things this way or that way. I'm sorry, but it's not worthwhile to discuss this. We need to look at the world as a complete whole. We don't understand it yet. We can't see these things and how they are revealed towards me. I can't see it. I can say about anyone that the Creator does that to me through that man, and the Creator does this thing to me or that thing to me, and I need to agree or disagree. And there's many, all kinds of teachings about that. What we're following is simple laws, and they were all written. If you want to start interpreting it, please, but the simple law is, how to put it simply, that you are forbidden to do harm to anyone. And on the contrary, you must try to do good to everyone as much as you can. Like Bala says, until there won't be any needy people in the world, and so on, according to the conditions that are revealed to you, that are open to you. So then we see that from all the opportunities that we have to do good to the others, we can really do it through dissemination. Because only through the wisdom of Kabbalah, through the light that people can attract, they can save themselves from all the bad things that happen in order to push them to correction. Because there is no other reason for bad things to happen. It's only to push them to correction. So if you bring them the method of correction, you act as an exact remedy towards the problem. Let's advance.
We're continuing reading the text. In the paragraph starting, however, we must still understand. However, we must still understand the source of the baseness that we feel upon receiving a present. Nature, scientists know, that the nature of every branch is to be close to its root. The branch also loves every conduct in the root. By the same principle, everything that is not in the root, the branch too stays away from, cannot tolerate it, and is harmed by it. And because our root is the Creator, and He does not receive but gives, we feel sorrow and degradation upon reception from another. Now we understand the purpose of cleaving unto Him. The sublimity of adhesion is only the equivalence of the branch with its root, and the whole matter of lowness is only the remoteness from the root. In other words, each creature whose way is corrected to bestow becomes sublime and capable of cleaving to Him. However, each creature whose way is reception and self-love is degraded and removed far from the Creator. As a remedy, we have been prepared with the Torah and mitzvot. In the beginning, we are to keep it in lo lishma, meaning in order to be rewarded. This is the case during the period of katnut, smallness, an educational phase. When one grows, one is taught to observe Torah and mitzvot lishma, meaning to bring contentment to one's maker and not for self-love.
This is how we grow. Great or small refers here to a person who is to an adult person in both states. It's not about a child that grows. So what is this about? If the Creator wanted to push us forcefully to correction, He would give us a sense of shame to an extent that we would be forced to make correction. The shame would turn us to slaves. You would get up in the morning and try to chase that. It's just like our life here. Our life here is only carrying out what the society dictates to us. Sit this way, eat this way, fix your life this way or that way, and dress that way, and so on. And I stand and eat and drink and think, and only according to the examples that the society gives me. So if I would feel higher shames to be like the society or the Creator, I would be forced to do these things without any problem. There is no problem to force us to make actions of correction that way. But there is a concealment here, and that's to allow us to structure the environment by ourselves, to receive the influence from the environment, so that I want this influence instead of all the other influences that I get from human society. I want to be influenced by an artificial environment that I built, and I want to receive different examples from that environment and be ashamed from that environment that I built. And towards that, I want to receive forces of correction. Understood? Again, I live in this world. This world is the Creator that presents to me who I am and who the environment is. And the environment is the whether planets or people or anything. It's all Him. So He awakens me to become ashamed towards society. You can see it on children. A child who's 8, 9, or 10 years old, he starts growing and you start seeing how much he wants to be like his friends, in the class. There's all these struggles begin of who's more in control, who's more in power. They have a very difficult life at that point. And the society begins to influence them. They begin to notice each and everything, each and every detail. The shame forces them. And it's the same later with us. At every age, wherever we are always dominated by shame. In many ways. Now, along with it, I have an opportunity to work differently. And instead of the society, the environment, which I am naturally ashamed of, I want to be special towards that environment. Even if you're a thief, it doesn't matter. It's still coming from trying to be proud with respect to that. So I want to build a different environment. I understand that shame is the only motivation that I have. I want to build a different environment so that towards that environment I'll have a different kind of shame, towards different values. And that's how I will advance. so that I'll constantly see, am I giving them arvut or not? Am I drilling a hole or not? Do they feel me as useful or not? And so on. I build them towards me in that way, specifically in order to reach the Creator that way, to reach complete bestowal. That's my free choice. That's our free choice. Meaning, instead of the world that the Creator gave us, we are building a new world for ourselves, a new environment. That's what I mean by world. And I don't want this world. This world, it's the path of suffering if I advance that way. But if I advance through the world I build, through the group, that's called the path of light, the path of Torah, light of Torah. It's like I take a boat and cross the sea and reach heaven. Dvekut, adhesion, it's called heaven. That's our entire work in the group, in our free choice, in our ability to perform the action of correction by ourselves. Yes?
From Israel, one is asking, with the great convention coming up, how can we get closer to adhesion?
That's what we want to do. We want to build an environment that will influence all of us, that will bring us new values. Shame with respect to why am I not inside? Why am I not there already? In those 3 days, I should feel constant elevation, fire. And there too, I will also feel that there will be moments where I don't want it and I do want it, and afterwards we'll also have some ups and downs. And that's how we learn how much we need a society, or say a social pressure that will constantly push us, so that thanks to it we will quickly come to adhesion with the Creator. And precisely the convention should give that to us in a very decisive manner, so that I feel this in a clear way. Okay, in short, there is a bit more scrutiny here, a bit more clarity, making it clearer to our need, to our urgent need of building an environment which is the only thing that will replace the whole world for us, and it will determine the values towards which we are ashamed, towards which we are obliged to change. That's it. And then for sure, the rest our nature will do. That's it. If the society, if the environment is great in its power, in its quality, in its influence over me, there's no problem. Then I do everything willingly. No problem. I take its values and that's it. And then everything is easy to me to do. We know that if you go into some environment and you want to be seen in a good eye there, it's like a beginner in any society. He always tries to be well with others, to be nice to others, and he has all the motivation to do it. He does that happily. Later begins the pride, where I am, why am I not higher than them, and so on. So if we put ourselves correctly towards the group and the group towards us in this manner of arvut, of commitment, then it's very easy. No one feels any weakness, and then easily you can realize the amount of corrections needed and reach adhesion. And hoping for that, we'll conclude.
Before we finish off, a few announcements. Towards the convention in 9th of November, we have a worldwide preparation event. Everyone together. Next Tuesday, in the 12th of October, we'll meet in the Kabbalah homes around Israel, especially, in a great preparation event, which will be at 6:15 p.m. Israel time. Here's a clip. There's about 1 month left to the great convention. It's almost ready. And now, the time has come for the first taste. And then Tuesday, the 12th of October, we're going to meet in all the Kabbalah homes around the world for a Everyone Together event. It'll be an open broadcast from unique lesson with Rav, cultural program, and preparation for the Great Connection and the convention. So let's get ready on the 12th of October at 6:15 p.m. Israel time in Kabbalah homes around the world. Also towards the Great Convention, the 9th of November, we're increasing our internal preparation through the internet site, internet.kbb1.com. Let's fill out the questionnaires and connect with the great motion where we feel together during the whole day. Have a great, wonderful day, everyone.
הבחירה היא בידיך ואין כאן את מי להאשים אם הוא נסתר עוד מעיניך אז בוא תבחר בחברים כל הניסיונות להתגבר רק עם החבר שיכוון אותך אל המקום הטוב אז בוא נבחר בלאהוב הבחירה היא בידיך אפילו אם לא תמיד רואים רק תבחר עכשיו את החבר הטוב הרי בחרת בחיים כל הניסיונות להתגבר יצליחו רק עם החבר שיכוון